That day the atmosphere of the studio was light, but there was an enthusiastic air that could not be ignored. The spotlights were already on, the microphone had been set up, and in the middle of the room sat an actor with a soothing gaze, Zhang Linghe. He came dressed in a simple white shirt and light ash pants, but his aura still stood out. Her thin smile greeted everyone in the room, including me who stood at the side of the camera. There is a warmth that is difficult to describe, calm but alluring. This interview was actually part of the promotion of his latest project, but as usual, whenever Zhang Linghe appeared in front of the media, there was another thing that always stole the show: his chemistry with Zhao Jinmai. And that day, the topic came up again in an unexpected way. The interviewer, a young journalist in a relaxed style, opened the session with light questions about the filming process. Zhang Linghe replied politely, his tone calm and clear. But then, the next question came, in a slightly more seductive tone. A lot of fans said, "Your chemistry with Zhao Jinmai still they can't forget." When you hear that comment, how do you feel? I could clearly see the small change on his face. His smile turned a little softer, his eyes emitting something that couldn't be hidden. He looked down a little, then laughed a little before answering. "It feels warm," he said softly. The sound was almost like a whisper, but enough to make the room suddenly quiet for a moment. "Warm?" asked the interviewer, trying to dig deeper. Zhang nodded slowly, then looked at the camera as if speaking directly to his fans. "Yes. Because in my opinion, if two people can make the audience believe in the feelings they show, then there is a genuine connection behind it. And that's something that's not easy to come by." I held my breath for a moment. That sentence sounded like a very measured answer, but his tone and gaze told a different story. There is an undisguised honesty. Holding the edge of his chair, he continued, "Zhao Jinmai is a special opponent. We work together with mutual understanding. Sometimes without even talking, we know what to do in a scene." He laughed a little after saying that, then added, "You could say, we have an invisible way of communicating." The phrase, invisible means of communication, immediately became a hot topic in the room. Everyone behind the camera, including me, looked at each other and smiled wordlessly. We all know what that means. During the previous filming process, I did often see the two interacting like that. They don't always talk much, but they seem to be able to read each other. If Zhang slightly forgot the position of the camera, Zhao would justify the direction of his gaze without prompting. If Zhao is nervous, Zhang will throw a short joke so that the atmosphere is liquid. Little moments that can't be taught, but feel real. As the interview session continues, the interviewer tries to flirt again. "Well then, what do you think makes you guys look good on screen?" Zhang smiled again, this time with a slightly deeper gaze. "Maybe because we're not pretending." He paused for a moment, then looked to the side, as if realizing how honest his words had just been. "What you see on the screen is mostly a natural interaction. We don't think too much about how to look romantic or not. We just enjoyed the moment." I could hardly help but smile. That answer feels like subtle code, a simple statement that stores meaning within. Not pretending, enjoying the moment, and there being warm between them. Isn't that how one would describe a relationship that is more than just colleagues? After the interview ended, the crew started tidying up the tools, but the atmosphere in the room still felt alive. Zhang Linghe was still in his chair, talking casually with the interviewer. At close range, I heard the interviewer ask in a light tone, "So, if there's another chance, you want to work with Zhao Jinmai again?" Without thinking, Zhang replied, "Of course." Then, with a small smile on the corner of his lips, he added, "It's not just because he's a professional. He has an energy that makes everyone on the set so much more excited." Again, his tone changed. Not just a professional compliment, but a gentle sincerity, like someone who truly appreciates someone's presence in their life. I briefly stared at the monitor, and looked back at his expression when he mentioned Zhao Jinmai's name. There is a bias of a smile. There is a sparkle in the eyes. And that's where it dawned on me. This is not an answer set by a manager or a script. This is an honest response from someone whose heart speaks first than his mind. Some time after the interview was uploaded, the internet was immediately excited. The hashtag Zhang Linghe code for Zhao Jinmai was trending. Many fans said that Zhang Linghe's way of answering felt like a form of hidden recognition. Someone wrote, "He didn't say love, but the way he spoke about Jinmai was enough." There are also those who write, "The phrase 'we're not pretending' is too honest a coincidence." As someone who witnessed it all firsthand, I can only smile reading those comments. Because, indeed, the atmosphere I felt in the room that day was the same as the fans felt. Something was not spoken, but very clearly felt. For many, it may just be a normal interview. But to me, it was a small snippet of a larger story. A relationship of two people intertwined with trust, respect, and comfort rare in the entertainment world. Zhang Linghe wasn't the type to easily open up about personal matters. He is careful in his speech, rarely giving too personal answers. But in that interview, all that caution seemed to melt away little by little when Zhao Jinmai's name was mentioned. His gaze turned soft, his tone became lower, and every word sounded quieter, like he was choosing words not to be too honest, but also not wanting to hide everything. For some, it may not be a confession. But for the sensitive, for those who have seen them work together, it is enough to be code. Not a code made to tease the public, but a sincere sign of someone who secretly appreciates someone's presence in his life. At the end of the interview, before he actually left the studio, I could hear the crew calling, "Linghe, you were so cool." Zhang chuckled a little, then replied, "Oh, I'm just being honest." And yes, that's probably the key to everything. A simple honesty that comes out unnoticed, but capable of making many hearts flutter. That day I realized, not all confessions should be said with the word like or love. Sometimes, one word like warm or cozy is enough to show everything. And for anyone who watched the interview, both in the studio and on screen, we all know one thing. The chemistry between Zhang Linghe and Zhao Jinmai was not a contrived thing. It was real, and perhaps, secretly, that was the sweetest form of recognition he could give.